What's up, guys? Uh, so, I'm here to talk about. I haven't really planned this out, but I'm here to talk about my top 5 games for 2014. Um, so people wanted to hear me talk about Destinies. People wanted to hear me talk about Halo. I want to talk about Evolve so that people know about it. And then, what are we thinking? What are we thinking? Probably Arkham Knight and Far Cry 4. Let me think about that for a second. Destiny for sure. Halo, Arkham Knight, Far Cry 4. Can't think of anything else above that. Division was pushed. Even then, I don't really know that much about it. So that'll be the thing. We're going to talk about that. Okay? So I want to know if you guys have any questions about those games. I will start with Arkham Knight because we know the least about it. So let's talk about Batman Arkham Knight. Batman Arkham Knight is coming. Shit, I don't remember the date. And that is a cat behind me. Don't freak out. Maybe he doesn't see me. Where'd it go? Oh. What? Oh, Jesus. Let me look up the release date for Arkham Knight. Coming 2014. Can you help me find it, dude? No? No. What? He hit me with his tail. He literally hit me in the face with his tail. Jerk. Stop showing everybody cat butt. Okay, so Arkham Knight is going to be released October 14th, 2014. It'll be on the PS4, the Xbox One, and the PC. Okay? So, I want to know if you have questions about Arkham Knight while I talk about what I know about Arkham Knight. So what I know is game looks super pretty. Looks like it's on the Unreal Engine 3. That's impressive. That's super impressive. Because look at the Unreal Engine 4. I mean, Jesus Christ, these games are going to be so fucking sexy in a year or so. So, Kevin Conroy is Batman again. I'm cheating because I'm looking at Wiki a little bit. So Scarecrow. Scarecrow is going to be the big bad guy in Arkham Knight. You know, and all the art and everything that we've seen so far for Arkham Knight is this Arkham Knight character. He's a new character to the Arkham universe and to the Batman universe. He's created for the Arkham universe by Rocksteady, which is really interesting. I mean, that just speaks to so much to how much the Arkham games have done for Batman and for DC and for Warner Brothers, so much so that DC says, "Hey, go ahead and make a new character." Fucking why not? Like that's God, man, these games are gonna be so damn good. The big hook with Arkham Knight, other than the world's way bigger, Joker's dead, so what the fuck's going on? Blah blah blah. Is the Batmobile, and if you haven't seen the Batmobile yet, what are you doing here? Look it up. It looks amazing. I think that driving the Batmobile in Arkham Knight should be a highlight of the game. I think it scares people, but if you think about it, if I told you in 2007, when you saw Assassin's Creed for the first time, oh, hey, by the way, in a few years, you're going to be fucking a pirate on a pirate ship doing pirate things and having naval combat, you would have just laughed. Like, that wouldn't have made any sense. It doesn't make any sense until you get your hands on it. I'm really hoping that this will be a highlight of the game and turn people around on the concept of having the Batmobile in a Batman Arkham game. That should be the goal for them, is to say, hey, we're introducing this new element, and I know it's going to throw everybody for a loop, but believe us, it's fucking sweet. I really think they're going to build it so that it just makes sense. You know, they're going to lay out Gotham in a way so that it makes sense to be driving a Batmobile. If you look at Arkham City, the city is not laid out for a Batmobile because it doesn't need to be, because it doesn't have a fucking Batmobile in it. Okay? So I understand why people are freaked out by the Batmobile, but you don't need to have a Batmobile in those other games, so that it doesn't look like you would have a Batmobile in those other games. So now with Arkham City, Arkham Knight, the city of Gotham should be set out in a way that just picture Chicago and Watch Dogs. I wouldn't be surprised if it's probably the size of Chicago and Watch Dogs, or at least a big chunk of Chicago in Watch Dogs. So driving the Batmobile hopefully feels like it makes sense. And I am absolutely sure that there are going to be sequences that require you to drive the Batmobile, but not so much so that you say, man, I really liked Arkham Knight, except for those times that they made me drive the Batmobile. It won't be like that. Rocksteady are very smart. They make games feel good. And that's probably one of the most important things about a Rocksteady game, is that it feels really fucking good. So, you know, I think that this game is going to be, it's definitely in my top 5, because I loved the shit out of Arkham City, but I have no milk. Alfredo on hold. Oh, she's back. What's up, Bree? Thanks. I'm talking about Batman Arkham Knight and why I think it's going to be the shit. So Batmobile aside, what's going to happen? I feel like after Arkham Origins, we've had so much Batman that they should mix up the combo system, they should mix up the combat, and they should mix up the way that you get around just enough so that this feels fresh. Because I think what happened with Arkham Origins is, you know, they let a lesser studio take hold of a franchise that is highly renowned and 2 for 2, and they let them kind of do a little too much with it. I think at that point, people should have not played a Batman game last year, and then you would be ready for a Batman game. I really feel like that might have backfired for Warner Brothers, because Batman Arkham Origins, though it supposedly had a really good story and everything, it was just it was the same thing that happened with Assassin's Creed Revelations. Like, Assassin's Creed Revelations had revelations in it, had a great story, had interesting things happening. But by that time, man, I personally was just sick of playing Assassin's Creed. And so when 3 came out and it was totally different, completely different, but still a, like, clearly an Assassin's Creed game, I was all aboard. I actually really enjoyed 3 until I finished it, looked back, and was like, that was terrible. But I really enjoyed it. I think Assassin's Creed is a good example of what happened with Batman Origins. So I want Arkham Knight to feel like a Batman game, but I want it to come at me from a totally different angle. So I wonder about these trailers. If you've seen the initial Arkham Knight trailer, there were a lot of interesting things pointed out in some IGN rewinds and some analysis of the trailer. First of all, in the trailer, even though it's completely CGI, has nothing to do with the actual game, it's totally CGI, there were some interesting things to point out. Like, Batman looks super young. Everybody looks super young. This all takes place after Arkham City. Joker is dead, so it's in the present, if not the future. So why does everybody look super young in the trailer? Why are there really, really old school looking cars from like the 60s or 70s in the trailer? What's up with that? So I wonder if this is going to have a bit of a flashback element to it. I wonder if Arkham Knight is going to do something different that we haven't had in an Arkham game and really maybe leave the setting and go to another place, or I don't know. I'm really hoping they do enough to make it stand out, because, you know, when you look at the difference between Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, it's totally different game. You know, you have that core element, you have those the sneaking around, the Predator style, the combat, the mixing combat that's very Arkham. It's iconic for Arkham games. But Arkham Asylum was very much a Metroidvania game where you went back and forth through the same areas over and over again with different powers and stuff that allowed you to get to different areas. And it was a much more linear game, and it was a much more confined game, highly focused game. Not a lot of like side shit to do. And when you look at that compared to Arkham City, sure, they got bigger and bolder with Arkham City because they learned a little more about what they could do and they wanted to flex their muscles, but it was laid out in a different way. You know, the story, the characters were all introduced in a very unique way to Arkham City. They introduced you to the level in a different way, and so I think that the difference between Arkham City and Arkham Knight should be just as much of a jump. You should have, what you were used to with Arkham Asylum was blown wide open with Arkham City, and now with Arkham City going to Arkham Knight, I'm hesitant to say this, but what if it went full blown open world? I mean, like Watch Dogs GTA type open world. Granted, Arkham City was a bit like that, and Arkham Asylum wasn't really like that at all. But I mean, walking around, looking at, investigating maybe more. Maybe you have more detective skills going on than just, hey, you're in that area that you can like scan. I want much more detective work going on if I was in a bigger open world, so that it makes sense that I would explore every nook and cranny of like a massive Gotham. Then it makes sense that I want to drive from this side to the other to put two dots together that make me understand like, oh shit, this guy went here and he did this thing and this is how I, progress the story. I think that is maybe like a direction that they could go with Arkham Knight. Yeah. So I haven't seen anything from anybody in the chat in a minute. So I want to give everybody a minute to maybe ask a question or two about Arkham Knight. I don't even know if anybody's here. It says I have 5 people watching, counting myself. Not sure. So while you guys are doing that, I'll talk a little bit about this Arkham Knight character. I don't know too much about him. We don't know too much about him. I read the Game Informer Batman cover. So, I know that this character has it out for Bruce Wayne. He's a much more violent character. I think one of the things that I heard somebody describe him as was he deals with things as Batman would, but with much more finality, which means, he's down to kill motherfuckers. So if he wants to kill Batman, but he's not the main antagonist, it makes me wonder if him and Batman see eye to eye on some things. I don't want to say team up because that sounds kind of corny, but they work together, maybe. A theory that I have, if you don't mind me going into just random speculation, is what if this character was also playable? I threw this out there and I had a bunch of people throw it right back in my face with, fuck you, I want to be Batman. Okay, you're fucking Batman. But what if Batman gets in a situation where this character needs to be the main focus for a little bit? That's how it worked in the Robin or the Harley Quinn's Revenge DLC. You played as Robin and you played as Batman. It actually flashed back and forth through time, and it switched you between the characters. So you were playing as Batman leading up to Batman getting caught, and you were playing as Robin looking for Batman after he was caught, but it was spliced together. So I wonder if they could do something like that with the story of this game. What if when you're playing as Batman, it's during a different time, maybe not all the time, but maybe it's during a different time, and then while he's in that other time, you play as this Arkham Knight character as well, and you kill people. Like, that would be nuts. So, Bill's back. Didn't know he was gone. Welcome back, Bill. Was talking about some Batman. Talked a little bit about that Batmobile. I talked about how I feel about the open world. I really want this game to be massive, and I want it to be a step up from Arkham City. Right now I'm talking about the main character, though. I want this other character to be interesting and worth our focus, like worth our time. I felt like what happened with Arkham City, and Arkham Asylum as well, the bad guys had some good focus, but they didn't really. There were so many of them that none of them really got enough focus so that it felt compelling to interact with them. When you were fighting Joker in Arkham Asylum, he was just another one of those big dudes that you got to dodge. When you fight Clayface at the end of Arkham City, you're just like, why the fuck am I fighting Clayface? Like, what the fuck? I don't even know what the hell's going on. With this game, this character needs to be really important. He needs to shock you. He needs to be somebody that should clearly not be fucked with. I wonder if they'll have him kill somebody. just to really set it. And I mean, clearly he's going to kill people, but I mean somebody. What if he kills Penguin? Or what if he kills Riddler? Or what if he kills Harley fucking Quinn? Like, that would be nuts. I think what they need to do with this character is make him worth our time and worth our focus. Even though the main antagonist is Scarecrow, and he's the reason everybody's left the city, and he's the one pulling the strings, so to speak, I don't think he's going to be the focus for the whole thing. I don't think he should be, because Scarecrow's been looming in the background this whole time, but I don't feel like Scarecrow fits the bill as like a climactic final scene person. So yeah. So another thing it makes me think about is what are we gonna see happen with Batman? Is he gonna die? Is Batman going to be killed at the end of the Arkham series, hence killing off the Arkham universe? I think that would be fitting. I think that would make sense. However, this game, it's the end of the Arkham series for Rocksteady, but it's not the end of Batman for Warner Brothers. So this game shouldn't tie in the Justice League unless it's like, ooh, I just got chills. So unless it's like Justice League drops by and says, dude, shit's getting fucked. Like, can you handle this? And he pulls the, I gotta get out of my way. And then the Arkham Knight has to kill Batman at the end for some fucking reason, thanks to Scarecrow or something. And then when the Arkham Knight kills Batman, Justice League shows up, and the Arkham Knight maybe like kills himself via Scarecrow or something. And that's how Justice League fits into this whole situation, because Justice League needs to pop in, because Warner Brothers really needs people to remember the Justice League like soon, because Marvel is just running away with this whole movie focus thing. So I don't know, that would be interesting. I haven't seen anybody ask a single question about Arkham Knight yet, so I'm about to jump off it. If you have any questions about Arkham Knight, please pop them in the next like 30 seconds. I'm going to grab another beer, and then we will talk about Evolve. Okay. So, you just asked about Arkham Knight. There was no question in here. I think we will see all of this, and the Arkham Knight will be a playable character. He would be an evil alter ego. When you play him, you can be totally evil. That would be fun. Yeah, I agree. I think that would be important. You just asked about Arkham Knight. You didn't ask about Arkham Knight, bro. Don't lie to me, Bill. Counter Donut said that we could see the Arkham Knight being a playable character. Counter Knight says that if the Arkham Knight is a playable character and Batman dies, that the player should be the one to kill Batman. I don't know if they would go that far. That would be fucking sweet. I mean, that would be ballsy. I just don't know if they would go that far. I don't even know if DC would let you do that. Like, let a Rocksteady, do that. That would be really cool, though. I think it would be worth it. You know what I mean? So that is it for Arkham Knight. We're going to move on to Evolve. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions about Evolve. People don't really know a lot about Evolve. I just talked about Arkham Knight on end for however long that's been, and we don't really know anything about Arkham Knight other than what I've said so far. Evolve, however, we've seen a lot of gameplay. We're going to see more gameplay, a lot more gameplay at E3. I wouldn't be surprised if it's playable at E3. Evolve comes out for next gen consoles or current gen, however way you swing. And it comes out October 21st, 2014. So it comes out a week after Arkham Knight. Man, I need to start saving some money for October. Jesus. I really hope I can review this game. I actually want to try to review it. Now's a good time to mention, hi, I'm Drew Freeman, and I write for We the Nerdy. I also write for Halo Dispatch. I also host Rated M for Podcast, and I host a Halo podcast called Podcast Evolved. I do some things on the internet. And right now I'm just working on a vlog to throw together for my channel, and hopefully I can get used to putting out some more content on YouTube. Obviously, I like to talk. And so right now I'm going to talk about Turtle Rock's new game, Evolve. So Evolve is a 4 versus 1 multiplayer game. It's not multiplayer only, so to speak, because you don't have to play against 4 other people or with 3 other people against 1 person, or however you want to put it. But you can play with 4 other people. I believe it is online only, though. I don't know. I'm just pulling shit out of my ass now. Let me talk about the actual game. So you have 4 hunters and you have 1 monster. The 4 hunters have 4 different classes. You have the trapper, the engineer, God damn it, the medic, and one more. It's like damage dealer. What's the term that they use? Trapper, support, medic, and assault. Okay, excuse me. So, as each of these classes, you play a role, right? And I've actually listened to some people talk about this game that have played the game, and it's apparently very important that you play your class. You have to play your class. If you've ever played a class-based game where everybody has different roles, even if you've ever played an MMO, if you don't play your class, people die and they get really angry at you. So apparently that's very, very, very important in this game as well. So you want to learn your class. So this is a game that looks like it's built from the ground up for esports. I'm just going to throw that out there because their first trailer, the first gameplay trailer, was casted. If you know what casting is, it's people who talk over sports games, esports. It's people who kind of tell the layman who's watching this thing at a bar somewhere what is going on. Like, oh, he went into the thing and that's very important because blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, okay, well, I don't know how to play this game, so that's important that you told me that. This game had a debut gameplay trailer that had some jackass casting over the whole thing. It makes me think that they're going to make this an esport. And at first I was really apprehensive about that. But the more I think about it, the more I think that's a really good idea, because you have, imagine a Dota team. Imagine 2 Dota teams, like 2 teams of 5 people sitting there in a room, and you don't know who's going first. You don't know who's playing Monster first. You don't know who's playing Trappers first. So say your team is the Trapper. You better know what class you're going to pick. You better know everything about the character that you're going to pick or whatever. And that just screams esports. That screams Dota. So I think that's an interesting element to this game. But the 4 classes have multiple characters within them, which I also think is interesting. And it looks like, I mean, from a distance, this game looks like it should be free to play, and you should be able to download different characters and buy packs, and buy character packs, buy monster packs, and all that shit. But they're going to release it as a $60 game. So I don't know if like characters going to be DLC or if they're just going to patch in characters for free. Not really sure. I do know that Turtle Rock are the people behind Left 4 Dead, and they know what the fuck they're doing. Like, Left 4 Dead was a massive, massive game that was very, very popular when it came to, you know, co-op, 4 people getting together, working, teamwork, you know, communicating, and playing against incredibly smart AI. So even though this is a 4v1 multiplayer game, there's AI because while you're on the hunt or while you're being hunted, you have to deal with the world around you. So the third player in this triangle of, you know, hunted, hunter, and then the world is the creatures, the flora and the fauna of the world around you. So, for instance, they were showing some gameplay, and one of the medics got trapped in a Venus flytrap like the size of a person, and the enemy was running away because he was being attacked, and the team had to stop and get this person out. That totally changes the dynamic. Now he's got time to like get out of there and recoup and evolve and grow and do all this stuff. So let me back up. The other side of the 4v1 is the monster. You can play as a monster. How fucking cool is that? There's different types of monsters. We've only seen the one. I'm sure there's going to be a dozen different types or something. Monsters have powers and stuff, and what you do is when a match starts, you spawn into the game, and then you can either take off and go try to evolve. You can take off and leave trails so that you know where the team's going to go look for you, or you can maybe set up camp and try to ambush the team as soon as they show up to kill you. So you spawn before everybody else does if you're the monster. So a tactic would be, I'm the monster, I spawn, I'm going to sneak away so that I don't leave trail, I don't leave footprints, I don't leave any like indicators that that's the direction I went, and I just try to sneak off. And I want to find ads or mobs or whatever you want to call it, enemy AI walking around like monsters or, you know, birds or something. And I want to eat those shits so that I can evolve. That's the whole point of the game, is you as a monster want to grow and get super big and crazy so that you're a destructive force that just is going to fucking dominate the map. I believe there is another objective that the monster has on some maps. So the first map they showed, the objective is like, go to this place and destroy this thing, and then you win. So even though the hunters are trying to trap and kill you, they're also trying to keep you from doing that. So I guess some of the maps have objectives as a monster. So that's pretty fucking cool. I like the fact that there is this third element to the game. I like the fact that you have your hunters and you have your monster. And so the monster is not just the only quote-unquote antagonist to the hunters. They have to be careful and not get killed by this giant fucking lake monster or something, like, which is in the game. So, for instance, one of the things that I saw in the gameplay trailer was the monster runs past this, like, river. And he's running from the team. The team gets to the river, and because the monster has run past, he like triggered a lake monster thing, this river monster. Looks like a giant crocodile or some shit. As the team nears the river, if the team knows about that, they can try to skirt around it, but it slowed them down. He's essentially put an obstacle in their way so that he can go evolve. And as the team, you want to be careful to get around that lake monster or whatever so you can keep going. While the lake monster kills the medic or kills somebody on the team instantly, like one bite death. So now the rest of your team is fucked because they're down a man and they're trying to pursue this monster. So that I love that. I love that. Just name another game. Name another multiplayer game that has just that sequence in it right there. You know what I mean? Where you're playing cat and mouse and you can like knock over something behind you and that just totally screws up, you know, what the team behind you is trying to do. So then he has time to go evolve and he gets so fucking big. You have like 3 or 4 different stages of evolution. You start off the size of like, let's say a gorilla or some kind of big, like a brute from Halo or something. So you evolve almost to the size of like, I don't want to say King Kong, or well, no, I'll say King Kong, not quite Godzilla, but like a King Kong size, where you're like the size of a city building, and just running through a world the size of a building, like breathing fire and destroying people is going to be so fucking sick. So especially considering you started off as this little thing that people were hunting and you were running away from them and stuff, and then the tables turn throughout the match and now you are hunting them and you can plow through buildings and knock over like shacks and shit. I mean, that is the shit. I love that. I love that about this game. I think it's going to be really fresh. Like Counter Donut says, it's going to feel fresh. People are going to want to be that monster. People are going to want to be the trapper so that I can, you know, put you in your place as the monster, and I think it's going to be really cool. So I'm very excited about that game. I think it's going to be a dark horse. I think it'll be this year's Dishonored, because it'll be a game that, like, most people probably aren't aware of it, but when it comes out, it's going to do really well. Maybe not sell it to a whole lot, but it's going to be a very popular game. So that is Evolve. I talked about Arkham Knight. We talked about Evolve. Now we have Destiny, Halo, and Far Cry. So let me talk about Far Cry. Far Cry 4, I really, 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 really think I'm going to love the shit out of Far Cry 4. Far Cry 3 was amazing. Probably my most played game of that year, and then like half of the following year. It just, you can just explore and run around and do dumb shit and, you know, shooting the fuck out of people and then like hiding and sneaking up on people and, you know, setting forest fires and doing all that cool shit. I mean, it's so awesome. It's so much fun. The skydiving, the world feels alive, you know, having to worry, like at the beginning when you're not very strong, having to worry about predators like panthers or tigers and shit like attacking you is just crazy. So I think that for Far Cry 4 to be set in a wholly different world, set in the mountains, is a really cool step for them, taking it away from like the jungle or the desert or whatever, which is what they've done in the past. And I think it's a good step. There's this talk about this racism thing and the art and all that. I'm not even gonna talk about that. I don't fucking care about that. I think the interesting thing that Far Cry needs to do to stay relevant, though it probably won't be popular with like hardcore Far Cry fans, is they need to fix their multiplayer element. They looked like they were trying to do something with Far Cry 3, but really it was just a poor man's Left 4 Dead was the co-op. It was a different campaign. Like it had a different story than what was going on with Jason Brody. It was set in the same place, but it was really like different characters, and they tried to have like different, you know, personalities and stuff like that. And you had to unlock these weapons for the characters and stuff. And I mean, it sounded like an interesting take, but it was really boring. It was so dumb. It just wasn't fun. It didn't have the feel of Far Cry. You know, as far as I remember, it wasn't really like an open world thing. You were set in very specific places. I just think it would be better if Far Cry 4's multiplayer, even if it was a co-op thing and it was separate, just like what they did with Far Cry 3, if they really bring the Far Cry feel to it. Like, you need to go explore this place. Have exploration be part of the hook. You know, have it be a treasure hunt, you know, with lots of horrible enemies and things to get in your way. You know, make Far Cry 4's multiplayer essentially Borderlands, and then you're good. You know, I think that would work. You know, I was gonna say Diablo, but then I remembered there is a first-person Diablo, and it's fucking Borderlands. I think Far Cry 4's multiplayer could be really fucking interesting, and it would be a good hook to get people back into it. You know, more Far Cry sounds great to me, but what is going to make it feel like it's worth that next step? You know, why, other than it just looking super good? So yeah, I think that'll be cool. There was talk of rideable elephants in Far Cry 4. Sign me up. Sounds great. I want to see more animal things. I want to see more animals you can ride, more than just the elephants. That'd be cool. There has to be an abominable snowman or a Yeti type thing. That has to happen because you're in the mountains and there's snow. I'm interested to see what this tech looks like. I think it's I can't remember if it's CryEngine, but it's not Snowdrop, which makes me sad. But there's like a new engine for the game, so I really, really can't wait to see at E3 what Far Cry 4 looks like. I think Far Cry 3 was fucking gorgeous, even on the 360. Even for the 360, it looked amazing, and on the PC, it looked unbelievable. So I'd like to see Far Cry 4 just set a crazy visual bar for an open world first person game. And I just can't wait to play it. We don't know a fucking thing about it. I would like to see them take the story slightly more seriously, and not to say a serious tone, but I'd like them to put a little more effort into their story for the game. So hopefully that works. Hopefully that is more compelling and helps this first person single player story, just feel like worth playing. I'd like to see some more replayability to Far Cry 4. I played the shit out of Far Cry 3, and I've played through it probably like 5 or 6 times, but there really was no real reason. I made up my own reasons. In fact, Far Cry 3, so what I did with Far Cry 3 was the first time I played it, I cleared out all of the, there are bases that you can go through and clear them out, and then they become fast travel hubs, and they open up like side missions. But as you do that, you eliminate enemies in that area. So if you look at your map, there are red sections on your map that show where the bases are. When you go take out those bases, those sections aren't red anymore. So by the time I got to the second island, I went back and looked at my map, and the whole top of the map is clean and clear. So if I want to go somewhere up there to do like a side mission or something, I just drive or fly or swim or boat up there or whatever. And then when I get there, I do my mission and then I leave. But when I'm there, I'm fucking bored out of my mind because there's no enemies around to like sneak through or fight through. There's no traffic on the roads. It's just my buddies. Hello, buddy. Just driving by. Every now and then I get bored and shoot them because I need something to do in my huge, massive open world game. So what I ended up doing on my second playthrough was not clearing those bases out. Like I went through almost the entire game without clearing any of the bases in the top area except for the ones that you have to clear out, like according to the story mission. So by the time I finished or hit the end of my second playthrough, when you beat the game, you can just continue playing through the area. I had a whole world full of bad guys that I could play in. So if I could do that, if I could do it the way that I played the first game and then still have incentive to go back and play some more without the world feeling empty or boring, I think that would be a smart choice for Far Cry 4. Bree likes my Yeti. This is a Yeti, by the way. It's a blue Yeti. So I'm switching now. I was drinking the Leinenkugel Sunset Wheat. I'm drinking the last Blue Moon Honey Wheat. My wife's going to be mad that I drank the last of her beer, but that's okay. I'll just buy her more. You went back and played through Infamous Second Son, Bill? And kept all the bad guys around? It's pretty cool. So that's been the bottom 3. Let's talk about the top 2. I don't think Ruler is So Nice is still here, is he? Nope, he left. He asked about Halo. I'll talk about Halo. And then I can get into Destiny. You Yeti is very pretty. Sigh, getting weird again. What the fuck does that mean? Oh, are you saying it's weird? Are you saying it was weird to tell to say that my microphone was pretty? Bree. Do you want me to talk about Destiny now? Or do you want me to talk about Halo and then talk about Destiny? I can talk about Halo. I won't talk about too much. I'll leave out Halo 5 because that's not this year. So it'll really just be about the Master Chief Collection. And then I could talk about Destiny after that. Or I could get into Destiny now and then wrap things up with Halo. You tell me. You can choose, babe. And now for the delay. For Bree to hear what I told her to tell me. Believe it or not, I can actually sing. I choose not to on the internet. Maybe I'll sing on the internet sometime soon. Maybe I'll start making song vlogs. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe I'll start talking about music along with video games. As you planned, just kind of jumping in and out. All right, well, Bree doesn't really care which way I do this, so I will talk about Halo and then Destiny, because I'm really kind of hoping that people have questions for Destiny. People meaning Josh, who hasn't said anything in a scary long time. Bill, who hasn't asked me a single question in the last 3 games that I've talked about so far. And then I'll have more to talk about, hopefully. So, Halo. There's a rumor that there will be a Halo Master Chief Collection. So the rumor says that Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4 will be remastered and re-released for the Xbox One in a big collection. So let's start from the top. Do I think this will happen? Yeah. I think it will happen because for such a detailed rumor, I just don't see how it wouldn't be happening. I think it's time for Halo to be on the Xbox One. They're not doing well sales-wise. And even though they couldn't just say, like, once they knew how sales were going, they couldn't just be like, okay, well, they need to put Halo out, and they'll do it in a few months. Like, they had to have been planning this. And I think it's a good time to do it. So this year is it's a 10-year anniversary of Halo 2. People have rose-colored glasses for Halo 2. I'm a huge Halo fan, and let me tell you, looking back, Halo 2 probably not my favorite time of all Halos. The multiplayer was a lot of fun. I feel like Halo 3's multiplayer was light years better. That's just me personally. I'm not ultra competitive, so there were a lot of like finer details that really competitive people preferred about Halo 2 than Halo 3. That stuff didn't really matter to me. I'm more interested in the bigger picture, and I think Halo 3 was a better game. However, it is the 10-year anniversary of Halo 2, so there needs to be a Halo game. Now, Halo 2 anniversary would have made sense. This Halo Master Chief Collection sounds totally different. So what I would like to see, I think that's what I'll talk about. I would like to see all 4 Halo games in a collection, have a lot of special stuff on the side, have a book, have multiple books, have a bunch of digital documentaries or something, have Frank O'Connor narrate this big long documentary about the process of all 4 games being made, since he's the only person there that works at 343 that was at least there for most of the development of all the Halo games. He wasn't there at the beginning. He was a big fan, and then he got sucked into the company, and now he's like the lead dude. That would be all great. Have all 4 campaigns as they were originally, with just much better graphics, with the exception of Halo 4, which looks fucking phenomenal on the 360. So all you'd need to do is just, up the resolution, keep the insanely awesome frame rate, and then maybe clean up some pop-ins, some textures, and some draw distance, and add some particle effects, and I think you have still a just gorgeous game. So if you do all that with all of those campaigns, that's a great start. Now, there's a lot of details that you need if you really want to knock this out of the park. And let me just caveat all of this with, I don't know if Team Saber and, Saber Interactive and Certain Affinity have it in them to do all this. I don't know. Unless there is a huge chunk of 343 or Microsoft Game Studios like laying around helping them do this, I don't think this is possible. But what I would like to see in a Halo Master Chief Collection is all of those campaigns remastered and all sexied up. And then on top of that, a multiplayer suite that you can launch from this one disc, because it's all going to be on one disc because it's a Blu-ray, so it can have all that shit in one. Or from this one downloaded interface, this game. You can launch any of the... Sorry, Bill, your question, you're like catching the problems in your question, crack me up. You can launch all of the different multiplayer suites individually, right? So they're all drawn from a single pool of people, because the problem with having multiple multiplayer suites for one game is you segment up your population, and you don't want to do that. I mean, so I've been playing the shit out of all of the Halos lately. I played Halo 3, Halo Reach, and Halo 4 for a total of like 20-something hours last week alone. Halo 3's multiplayer population is ridiculous. There's like 44 people in Big Team. Like there's 8,000 people playing Halo 3 worldwide. In Reach, it's a little better. I think it's actually better than 4 technically numbers wise. But across all 3 of those games, you have like the population of people who play Call of Duty on the 360 alone. You know what I mean? So you don't want to do that. You don't want to bring everybody to Xbox One to play Halo and then segment them across 4 fucking games. No one will be able to play with anybody. It's bullshit. So I think having the option to get into specific game sections. So if you opt to go get into Halo 2 multiplayer only, and then you are in a hopper where people will be playing Halo 2 with you, regardless of their like character setup or their character layout or whatever, that's perfect. If you want to play Halo 4 only, you play the Halo 4 multiplayer. You can play with people who only have Halo 4. If you want to play Halo Reach, you can play with people who only have Halo Reach or the ODST multiplayer. You have them all talk across each other. And then if you want to, you hop into a hopper that puts you across all of those. So classic maps dropped from all of those games onto this game. So you can play with people who play Halo 3 on this Halo 3 multiplayer thing. The multiplayer still looks like what it used to look like. I don't want to see like up-resed HD version of Halo 2's multiplayer. I want Halo 2's multiplayer to look like Halo 2. I want the campaign of Halo 2 to look sexy, but I want the multiplayer to look like normal shit. So you have your Halo 2 multiplayer hopper, you have your Halo 3 multiplayer hopper, so on and so forth, and then you can pop into one that puts you randomly into any of those. Like, I want to play Big Team Battle, and I want to play Big Team Battle across all 4 Halos. And I want to have maps and game types in there, mixed in there, where I'm playing Halo 3 with Halo 4 weapons on a Halo 3 map or something like that. Like, I think that would be fucking ridiculous. So, Bill asked if I think it'll be multi-platform. I don't think this collection will be multi-platform. I think the point of the collection is to bring people to the Xbox One, and Halo is the best way to do that. And I think that this should play with... fuck, I just trapped myself. So I don't think... Even though I would like to see it so that you could play with Halo Reach people, like people playing just Halo Reach, now that I think about it, this game is about bringing people to the Xbox One, and you can't do that. So I take back what I just said about being able to play with people on the 360. I do not think this game will be multi-platform, and I do not think this game will be across networks. So here's the biggest reason why. If you can't even have a fucking party chat with your 360 friends while you're on your Xbox One, you're not going to be able to play a game across the two. It's not going to happen. So that answers that question. Now here's the problem. Everything that I just described, I think, is like possible, a little on the outside of the limits of the capabilities of the teams that are working on this game or should be working on this game. But the interesting thing is, when you look at Halo 3, Reach, and 4, you have aspects that I don't know if they would translate into this version of the game. What do you do with Forge? What do you do with theater? In Halo 3 and in Reach, you could capture theater clips, screenshots, and gameplay clips of campaign. And then in Halo 4, they stopped allowing that because I just don't think that they could support it on the 360. Is probably not strong enough. So now what happens? Do you keep the original theater options? If I was playing Halo 2 multiplayer, if I was playing Halo 2 multiplayer with this collection, do I have access to a theater mode? Can I take screenshots of, do I have replays saved? Like, how the fuck does that work? Also, ultimately, I think the easy answer to that and a smart answer to that would be, well, use your Xbox One. Just say Xbox record that. Just say Xbox record this session or Xbox screen cap or whatever. And then you can go back and play with that. But that is not a substitute for theater. Theater is unbelievably capable. You can move the camera around in a 3D space during the replay. It's unbelievable. And it's Xbox Record. That is not a substitute, but I think that would be their answer. So then what about Forge? Can I have Halo 2 Forge? That's not a thing that ever existed, but can I have Forge for Halo 2? Can I have Forge that has pieces and assets from all Halo games in one section? Where the fuck is it? Is it going to be Forge Island that was created for Halo Reach? Or no, Forge World that was created for Halo Reach. Forge Island, which I think was created for Halo 3 or Halo 4. Like, what the fuck? Like, how is this going to work? All of those things kind of reel me back into reality and make me wonder, is this game real? Is it really going to happen? If it is going to happen, how are they going to answer those questions? Like, the questions that I just asked are just simple questions. There are people who have much more detailed questions, and 343 needs to field all of these questions if they're going to bring this thing out. They need to field them fast. They need to field them immediately. They need to come out, announce this game, and then say, go to Halo Waypoint, where we have every answer to every question you could possibly ask about this game today. I don't know if that's going to happen, though. So my thought is, if this game is real, it exists for a handful of reasons. 1, Halo really needs to get its shit together. 2, Halo multiplayer under one roof would be fucking sweet on the Xbox One. Let's have it now. 3, they need to sell Xboxes, so what else sells an Xbox besides Halo? Nothing. Halo sells Xboxes. So I think it's going to be a value-packed homage to Halo fans that won't have all the bells and whistles that any Halo fan wants, but will have just enough there that hardcore Halo fans will pick it up, and then like really nonchalant people who are like, oh shit, a new Halo game. All the Halo games, great. They'll pick that up. So let me caveat something. This is an edit. I kept saying Halo Reach earlier. Halo Reach is not in this collection. It's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So forget everything that I just said about Halo Reach over the last like 10 minutes. This Master Chief Collection, I really hope happens, because as you can tell, it's on my list. It's my top 5 games. I really want to play Halo on my Xbox One this year. I really, really, really want to play Halo on my Xbox One. Fucking really do. Because I want to stream it. See, here's why I want this thing. I want to stream Podcast Evolve guys getting together and playing Halo 1, 2, 3, and 4 on this channel. That would be the shit. I would fucking love that. Playing Legendary, playing crazy, just doing all the crazy stuff, doing the grunt warthog flips on Silent Cartographer. Like, that would be the shit. I would love that. So, I really hope this game comes out. I would not be mad if there was no Forge, there was no theater, there was no multiplayer. Wouldn't be mad about that. I'd be bummed, but I wouldn't be mad. I want to play Halo on my Xbox One. Okay, so that is Halo. That takes me to my top game that I anticipate this year, that I want to play this year, that I love this year, that I'm just like fucking repped on. And that is Destiny. Bill, I really hope you have questions about Destiny. Bree, I'm assuming you're here at some point, and I would love to hear you have questions about Destiny. So, Destiny, from the creators of Halo, made by Bungie. There's a lot of interesting information about there. Let me start at the top. So the interesting thing about Destiny is Destiny's community is unlike anything I've ever seen in my life, and the game isn't even out yet. The game doesn't come out until September. The beta isn't even out yet. What? How? It's because Bungie is the shit, and it's because this game is really touching a lot of people. And the reason it's touching a lot of people is because it's on all 4 platforms. People overlook this detail like it's just pie on a sundae. Like, oh, it's on all 4 platforms. That's cool. That's a huge deal. Bungie has never done that. So the Bungie has never made a game across 2 platforms, let alone 4. Bungie hasn't made a PlayStation game since Oni on the original PlayStation, I think. And Bungie has definitely not made a game like Halo since Halo, and now they're making a game bigger than Halo and what they want to become bigger than Halo as a franchise, and they're doing it on 4 platforms. That's crazy. That is how you sell games. You sell it on a multiple platform basis, and you say, hey, everybody come play the fuck out of our game. It's going to be awesome. Let's appeal to the widest possible audience. Let's not make it about Space Marines. You know, let's not make it about zombies. Let's not make it about modern warfare or something crazy. Let's go super fantastical, but still keep it in reality. You're on Earth. You're on Mars, the moon. There's the sun in the sky that is the same sun you see when you look out the window. It's so crazy that they have decided to marry the sci-fi and fantastical and reality together in one game. You know, I think it's a bold step, and I personally, as like a longtime Halo fan and ergo longtime Bungie fan, am just happy for them. They're finally making the game that they wanted to make. Come here, buddy. All right, come on. Hold on, excuse me. Look at you. You're so fucking tired. Oh, come here, dude. Come on. Get over here. Ugh. So if you want more views, you just put kitties in your video. There's way more views. I should get a lot of views now. Talk about Destiny, talk about video games, and have cats in your video. Now I just need Bree. If you could come over here and just do a little shimmy. Like, I'll have girls, cats, and video games. Just a YouTube smash hit. Anyways. Where to start with Destiny? So first of all, if you don't know what Destiny is, but you know what video games are, this is not to be reductive. People think that this is like downplaying it, but I think it's a good idea. I think it's brilliant. Destiny is Halo meets Borderlands meets World of Warcraft. So what I mean by that is there's a persistent world. So I'm not saying it's an MMO. It's not a massively multiplayer online game. It's not an MMO FPS or anything like that. But there's a persistent world that you adventure in with friends. So there is, a multiplayer element. There's a co-op element to the game. And you start off on Earth. And it's in the future. And everybody's dead. Like, there's one city. You're on the last city on Earth. And you're a guardian that's protecting the last city on Earth. And protecting humanity. So you're there to essentially be the they use the term vanguard a lot. You're a guardian, but as a guardian, you are in a sense a vanguard for humanity, going back out into space and just adventuring and being a badass. It's a first-person shooter, like I mentioned, but it also has magic. It has space magic. It has classes. There's 3 different classes. There is a hunter, a warlock, and a titan. Think of a titan as Master Chief from Halo, essentially. You're a cybernetic organism. You're actually a robot, straight up robot, that was created. And the hunter is essentially like a bounty hunter type thing. So sniper class, sort of, in a way. You got some melee elements that bring in like a knife and shit. And then there's the warlock, which is essentially a warlock. You're a fucking warlock. There's also 3 Chicken Lords here. What's up, Chicken Lord? Shit. There's also 3 races. So there's humans, humans. Let me drink some more beer real quick, so I can say more funny thing like humans. This is Link, by the way. You'll see a lot of him if I continue doing this. I've been talking for like 2 or 3 hours straight, so it's starting to get a little loopy. Sorry. So you have humans awoken, and it's a really brilliant way to look at things. So you have the humans, which are just picture humans in like Serenity or Firefly or Aliens or just there's like a mixture of like this classic Star Wars human, shit talking blah 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 guy. That is humanity in that's the character that you're embodying as a human. Yeah, I said humans, Bree. I see what it is. Oh, Chicken Lord. I'm gonna answer Chicken Lord's question. I'm drinking Blue Moon Summer Honey Wheat. It's the seasonal from Blue Moon right now. So that's humans, right? So me personally, I'm going to play as a human hunter. I'm going to do the whole Han Solo thing, the Boba Fett Han Solo Serenity thing. So on top of that, you have Exo, right? So Exo are actually they're not just robots or whatever. They were actually created to build the wall around the city. There's a city that goes around the city, which is the last city on Earth. I don't know the name of the city. I don't even know where the fucking city is. I have lots of questions for Bungie, but they don't answer me. I want to know where this city is on Earth, but they haven't told us yet. So they built the wall, and then they became sentient or some shit, and now they're just kind of like out there defending Earth, defending humanity. So it's interesting that the Exo, they're not just robots. They're they were created for a purpose and they exist for a purpose. There's a lot more theories behind the origins of the Exo, and these kind of mysteries, these kind of questions that I couldn't even begin to answer are the things that are really interesting people in Destiny, because they want to know more. Bungie's doing a great job of building a lot of questions into their game. They're doing a great job of making people wonder what the fuck is going on with this game. So next you have the Awoken. Think of Awoken as like elves or fairies, but way cooler. They're like ethereal and blue and just sexy as fuck. So, I think Bill will probably play as an Awoken because he's a big fan of Avatar. Don't picture Avatar when you picture Awoken. Picture Awoken when you picture Awoken. Picture like this celestial, ghosty, elvish looking thing. They're really interesting. I don't think we really know much about the Awoken at all. And if we do, it's like buried down in some interview at some point. So those are the classes and those are the races. There's a lot more to it. There's a lot of information out there. I can't tell you all of it because I don't have the memory. I'm just telling you what interests me in this game off the top of my head. I like the idea that this game is... See, I like Destiny from a much higher elevation, from a much broader perspective. I like the fact that... All right, buddy, you're going to have to go. I like the fact that Bungie is finally... They've set out to make a game that is bigger than Halo on purpose. When Bungie made Halo, they were designing it for the fucking Macintosh. They were making a real-time strategy game for the Mac. And then it turned out to be an original Xbox first-person shooter. So that game went through so many changes before it was even out. Master Chief's name wasn't even going to be Master Chief. That was a placeholder. Like, everything about Halo was it's just serendipity. It just happened, and it was really fortunate, and it was not planned. And sometimes that's how things have to be for them to be successful. But I believe in Bungie, and I really believe that they're setting out to make the next Halo and a bigger franchise, a bigger world. They're directly targeting Star Wars and how big they want this thing to be. I don't know why I did it like that. And I think they could do it. And that's what excites me the most. I mean, if you stop me on the street and you said, "Hey, you got a Destiny shirt on, man. What you gonna do? You gonna get all super PvP up in there? You gonna roll with your fire team? You and your boys gonna be world's first? You gonna do stuff like that?" Nah. I just want to get lost in this world. I want Destiny to be my World of Warcraft. I want it to be the thing that I read of every book. I know every piece of lore. I play the game daily. Daily. And when I mean daily, I mean like, hey, not Destiny sounds good today. No. Daily, like, yep, got to get my Destiny in. Got to get that fix. I got to be in that world. And that is actually has nothing to do with the game itself. I just think that it's the place that I want to live, you know? And I couldn't get more honest than that. So on top of that, we have the incredible music of Marty O'Donnell. Marty O'Donnell is no longer with Bungie, but his music is just unbelievable, and it sets the tone. And that tone is already set. Like, he's already rang that bell. You can't unring it. You can't fire the guy and change things. That is already the tone of the game, and that will continue to be the tone of the game until somebody comes along and fucks it up. So because of that, you have this fantastic sci-fi world that they're creating, and you get to explore all of it. You get to go to the moon, to Mars, to Saturn, to Venus, to Jupiter, to, explore all of Earth. And I don't think it's going to be exactly like, hey, let me walk from Africa to Russia, but it's going to be massive. And there's going to be so much to see and so much to do. And really, that is what invites me into this game. I want to be able to explore it the way that I explored Skyrim for days, for weeks. I've put hundreds of hours in that game. GTA 5. I put over 100 and something hours into GTA 5 in a month. A month. That's crazy. And that game had nothing on what Destiny is going to be. So, I can get more details, and why don't we listen to some of the questions that people are popping out here. Bree was in the mail sack because Bree is fucking awesome and is everywhere. Congratulations, Bree. Warlock, boom. Apparently Bill's going to be an awoken warlock. And so is Chicken Lord. Very cool. Counter Donut wants to be an Exo Titan all day. I think that's a great idea. I will be the guy running and jumping in an open field. Okay. So Chicken Lord, if you want to see Chicken Lord in and Bill in Destiny, they're going to be running and jumping in an open field. So Bill wants me to talk about how single player and multiplayer work together. So first of all, one of the interesting facts about Destiny that I don't think they know, because it's not exactly like you've seen the user interface yet, is there is no menu. There's no start screen. There's no, like, do you want to play a single player match? Do you want to get into this and that? If you compare that to, say, Halo 4, that has the campaign, and then you have Infinity, where you can do Spartan Ops, or you can play war games, and they basically wrote the multiplayer of the game into the lore of Halo. That's one way to do things. But that still brings you to a menu. It still brings you to a pregame lobby. It still brings you to a user interface. Destiny's not going to work that way. Destiny is going to be a perpetual, persistent world that exists all the time, much like an MMO, like World of Warcraft. So when you boot the game up, you're going to be where you were. You're going to be like, I'm here. Here I am. When you start it up. Here's my awoken exo. I was jumping around in a field right now, and now I'm here. I am in my field. I can continue jumping around, or I can get back to what I was doing, or I can link up with Chicken Lord, and I can say, using a way that I don't know yet, but probably your ghost. You have a ghost. You have a little AI that flies around with you, much like 343 Guilty Spark. So just imagine that, but with the voice of Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones for some fucking reason. Your ghost, who is, I'm for real, voiced by Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones, Peter Dinklage, will probably be that user interface. He will replace the menu. So you will have an in-world, in-game menu system, so to speak. So it won't be a start screen. You won't pause your game and say, like, let me change the settings and blah, blah. You'll probably do all that from your ghost. And I think that's really smart. I think it's a sexy way to bring UI to a game. One of my favorite examples of UI in a game, even though there is still a start screen and everything, is Borderlands. And I will draw correlations to Borderlands from Destiny all day with a big ass smile on my face. People think that it's a bad thing that you compare Borderlands to Destiny and Destiny to Borderlands. I think it's great. I think Borderlands was brilliant. And whether you enjoyed the game or not, there was a lot that was developed in Borderlands that games can really borrow. So one of those things was when you want to check your skills, when you want to check your loadout, when you want to check your badass points or what's in your fucking... Look at your map. You brought up a thing that you saw your character from the third-person view looking at. So you saw him look at this map, and you saw him look at his inventory. And I thought that was brilliant because you're still there. You're still moving around. Like, if you're playing multiplayer, it doesn't actually pause the game, so enemies can attack you while you're doing that. And I wouldn't be surprised if Destiny does the same thing. It's a persistent world. It's an online shared shooter, so there probably is no pause. Think about that for a minute. You probably can't pause the fucking game. You probably bring up your ghost to check out your loadout, your skills, your level up. You level up your weapons, stuff like that. And so you bring up your ghost and you say, oh, I want to go party up with Bill. Well, maybe your ghost shows you on your map where Bill is, and then you grab your ship comes down and picks you up, and you fast travel to the planet or the location that Bill is at. Your ship comes into Bill's game, and you drop out of it, and there you are. You're with Bill now. So if Bill is getting ready to start a mission or go into a dungeon, you're now with Bill. The game knows you're with Bill. So when you two walk through that threshold where, like, say you're outside of... So the wall is a good example because everybody's seen that gameplay where they start outside the wall, they go into Old Russia, and they go through that mission. When you're standing out there, there could be like a dozen people standing out there. I don't know. So let's say there's like 5 or 6 of us. Everyone in this Twitch chat, we're all standing outside the wall, and me and Bill want to go into this mission. But Bree, Chicken Lord, and Counter Donut want to stay outside. Well, they stay out there, we go in, and then if they go in after us, like long enough after us so that we're gone through and stuff, they go in and they don't see us, and we play kind of in a separate timeline, so to speak. And that is how they blend together a multiplayer world, but you can still do single player stuff. So if I wanted to do it myself, I say, yo, you guys, I'm going to go do this. I'll see you guys later. And I go do that. But if you guys wanted to meet up with me or something, you could still follow the same path I went on, but I'm still playing the single player section the way I want to do it. Somebody said they lone wolf. They want to play lone wolf. You can totally play this game lone wolf. It's built that way. However, there are activities in the game that you need to be doing with people. So you can play World of Warcraft by yourself, so to speak, but you can't quest by yourself. And I think what you can do in Destiny, because Destiny has a campaign that has a start and a finish, is you can play all of that yourself if you want. You can play through all of the start to finish campaign stuff. But I feel like doing raids, strikes, and other multiplayer, like the competitive multiplayer, obviously you can't do competitive multiplayer by yourself unless you want to do that alone in the shower away from everybody. So you do all those things with friends, but if you wanted to do the story just to focus on it, you can do it yourself. In fact, I personally would probably maybe want to do that just because I want to get sucked into the world. And when I'm playing the campaign or playing the missions and interacting with the AI and learning about the characters, I want to do it at least with friends who will respect the fact that I want to hear everything everybody has to say. So I hope that answered your question, Bill. Let me check and see what everybody's talking about over here. I'll sit on the ground with you, flowers in your hair. Yeah, all right, so that's a good point. Emotes. So one thing that Bungie wants to do to help marry this whole single-player, multiplayer experience is they don't want people to be able to show up and just ruin your day. You know, if Bill is in an earlier part of the story than I am, and I come across him and I don't know him, and I'm just going to show up and be like, yo, that dude dies. Like, I can't do that. Voice chat is only is between friends. I actually kind of anticipate voice chat being limited to the system, but I don't know that for a fact, so I don't want to say that for a fact. But I would imagine that in a game like Destiny on the 360, if you and I and all of us were in a party and we were speaking in party chat, then that would be the way that we communicate with each other no matter where we are and what we're doing. But if we're in game chat, we would have to be with each other, communicating to each other in a like in-game party. So I can't just run up on you and be like, hey, fuck you. You know, I mean, it doesn't really work like that way. So I think that's something that they're doing to try to help curate the experience. Lots of ghost customization. You know, Chicken Lord, I hope so too, man. Because when I heard that Peter Dinklage was the voice of the ghost in the game, I wondered instantly, wait a minute, he's the voice of everyone's ghost in the game? Okay. Well, if he's the voice of everyone's ghost in the game, can I make my ghost look different than yours? Can I make him say certain things differently or whatever? You know, like I hope that there is some customization there. Player inventory. Well, I think player inventory is probably going to work in a way that your ghost shows you everything that is available to you. I don't think it's going to work in a way that, say, Alone in the Dark is a fucking terrible game, but it had a good example of like a real, like ultra real inventory where you opened your jacket and looked in your jacket at everything that you wanted. And like you physically looked at it. Which is super weird. It's not going to be like that. Your rocket launcher isn't going to be on your back and like every single gun is going to be like mounted on you everywhere, because from what I understand, I think you can have all kinds of different guns. So I believe there's 4 or 5 slots, and I think you can have different types of guns in each slot, if I remember correctly. So say you have your heavy weapon. I think you can slot which heavy weapon you want in that area. So I feel like I remember reading that you can have like a ton of guns on you, like 16 guns or some shit, or 8 guns or something. And I believe I remember reading this from the hands-on previews that we got a couple weeks ago. So to answer your question without knowing for a fact, I think that the player inventory will work in a way that your ghost will bring you a menu of sorts that you can look at what weapons you can slot into your quick toggling of your weapons. This game is my destiny. Me too, Bree. We will share some destiny together. So I don't know how to say your name. Agrio. Agrio says, think Borderlands for equipment. Agrio, that's exactly what I was talking about earlier, man. I think that the equipment that you can carry is something similar to that. So, will personnel inventory be limited? I think you posted that before you got to the point where what I was just talking about. So, yeah, I believe I heard you can have, like, multiple guns and stuff like that. So what I think is going to happen is, so you can also break down weapons for stuff, for parts. Let's just say parts, because I can't think of the actual terms. That leads me to believe that you can pick up lots of weapons. So you pick up weapons, you do what you do in Borderlands where you're like, this is garbage, I don't want it. So you mark it for junk, or you just break it down then and there. And now you have scrap or something that helps you level up or customize the weapons that you do want to keep. So very much like Borderlands, but with a as a Skyrim-esque feel to it, where you can kind of break things down. I don't know. I can't think of another game where you can break things down. Oh, like Diablo. So you can break things down like Diablo, where you can scrap stuff and then use that to build up the weapons that you have. There is a crafting system of sorts. Agrio. Okay, so I'm going to try to say the rest. Agriosendendros. Okay. Thank you. Welcome to my channel. Appreciate it. I'm doing this for some content for my YouTube channel, so go check out my YouTube channel if you get a chance. 3 equipped can be changed on the fly is confirmed. Yes, yeah. So you have your basic weapon, you have your heavy, and then I think you have another class. Did anybody play Defiance? No, I did not play Defiance. Break things down as you recall. Okay, great. So more Destiny stuff. Okay, so you have a mount, so to speak. I believe the mount has offensive capabilities, but I don't think that I've actually seen that yet, so I don't want to say what kind of offensive capabilities that it has. So think of a ghost in Halo, but picture a speeder from Star Wars, and you get the Sparrow. So the Sparrow is a type of mount. It's a type of vehicle, and there are different types. So there's the Shrike, there's the Fallen has, oh god, I haven't even talked about the enemies in the game. So much about this game. So the Fallen has their own. I actually like the Fallen's Sparrow better. I like the way it looks. It looks fucking evil. The Pike, yeah. Is the Pike the Fallen Sparrow? Agrius and Junderos and Junderos? Let me know. Let me drop my YouTube channel URL here. Bam. So the Shrike and the Pike are types of Sparrows. Sparrow is the overall class of the mount that you can kind of summon, so to speak. But they're just a way to quickly get around. So you have that, right? So, Bill, I was talking about all the different like areas that you can explore, right? But, your old legs are going to get tired. Even if you are an exo, your legs are going to get oily and you're fucking dried out, and you're going to need oil before you can move on. So you summon your Sparrow and it just appears and you fly off. That's how you get quickly from place to place. That is not fast traveling, however. Fast traveling works with your overall ship. I don't know the name of like your big ship, but everybody gets their own ship. I believe you can customize your ship. I believe there are different types of ship, and I'm pretty sure you can actually there was a mention in a mail sack one day about somebody losing their ship in like a bet or something like that, which is really interesting. So moving on to the enemies that I alluded to that I forgot to talk about. You have, I want to say 5, but the darkness hasn't exactly been shown as enemy types. So let's talk about the enemy types that we've seen. You have the Vex, the Fallen, the Hive, and the Cabal. So let's start with the Vex. The Vex are time-traveling robots. Yep. That's fucking crazy. There's a ton more details and backstory and stuff to them. But I think what's interesting about them is they travel through time. So what implications are there? I'm really curious to hear how fighting them works. Like, I wonder if, I think it would be really fucking cool if you were fighting something and it like rewound time. Like what? Like if you were fighting something and it was like, hey, I got shot in the face. Hold on, let me back up time and get unshot in the face real quick. That would be kind of cool. So, not much more details on the Vex that I'll talk about because I don't want to stumble over details that I'm not totally full on. So then there's the Fallen. The Fallen is a lot more easy to grasp from a Halo fan perspective because they act like the elites. They definitely fill the in the enemy roster and the way you encounter them and stuff. They feel like they fill that elite category from Halo. So you have different classes of Fallen. Some of them have 4 arms. One class has 2 arms. They do things like dual wielding weapons, and they have swords and melees, and they have crazy fucking capabilities. And I think they're going to be like the common like opener as you start to play the game. The Fallen will probably be one of the first enemies that you encounter, and I think there'll be the most iconic. If you looked at their Gamescom last year, they had a Fallen statue that was just fucking crazy. But Bungie brought a Fallen statue out to Germany and had it on display, and it looked nuts. So the way they look is the first time you saw the Fallen, they kind of looked like, oh, what are those called? In the first Star Wars, sand people. They actually kind of resemble sand people, but if you mix sand people with like fucking elites and gave them forearms, they're the cool thing about their enemies, the enemies in Halo. So the cool thing about the enemies in Halo is they're not in Destiny. So the cool things about the enemies in Destiny are they have different, like a caste system. The Fallen specifically have like different houses. So there's the House of the Devils. There's all these different like clans, so to speak, within the Fallen race. I love that. I love that Destiny. This is just such a great Bungie thing. Bungie created the Covenant for you to fight in Halo, and they didn't need to tell you anything about them, except they created this huge history of religion and class warfare and like politics and all this like sneaky shit going on, and like all these honor systems and different types of beliefs and all the different planets and all this stuff. Like, they're going to do that again with 5 different types of enemies that all have their own stories and all their different like histories and capabilities and stuff. I fucking love this. This is great. I don't want to talk too much about like how much I just love the shit out of Destiny, but I will say that the variety of the enemies here is probably the spice of what's going to keep Destiny from feeling like a Borderlands clone. So Borderlands AI is not exactly the best thing in the world. Halo AI is notoriously good. Bungie has nailed AI. They know how to set up encounters and set up fight spaces and have their AI maneuver those fight spaces in a way that just feels like you're fighting against a smart enemy, an enemy that will fuck you up, that will outsmart you, or at least make it really frustrating to try to kill them. And I think that's brilliant. So you have the Fallen kind of acting as the elites. You have the Vex being a very interesting robot race with their own thing going on. And then you have the Hive, which are essentially the Flood, sort of. They're wizardy, space, warlocky, space zombies. They're space zombies. They're magic wielding space zombies. So that's pretty fucking creepy, right? I don't think they're gonna fight like the Flood. They're not gonna act like the Flood. I'm pretty sure that would be horrible because the Flood are like just the shittiest part of Halo ever. But when I say Flood, I just mean, as the Hive part of Hive indicates, I think they're like a hive mind, if I had to guess. And they're a bit of a fucking crazy ass zombie enemy. Yeah. So next you have the Cabal. The Cabal are massive. They have these shields. They're kind of like the hunters in Halo. So but they don't look anything like hunters. They look like giant moles covered in armor. And they're fucking huge. They're very intimidating. And for the, if you go look at any of the gameplay or any of the promotional stuff for Destiny, when the Cabal show up, you're like, oh shit, what is that? They have a good oh shit factor about them. When they show up, you're like, man, how are we going to fight this thing? And so that is the basic enemy types. Now, there is the Fallen as well. I don't know shit about, the Fallen, excuse me, let me back up. There's the Darkness. I don't know anything about the Darkness. I know that the Darkness is what chased tracked down, did it track down? Anyways, the Darkness is probably the overall antagonist in the game. And it's kind of like the equivalent of the fucking dark side in Star Wars, where like, even though you have all these like bad things going on, all these bad characters and these bad people that you gotta like plow through, the darkness is really in the background. Sorry, I'm still reading what people are looking forward to the beta, and we're talking about that stuff. But the Cabal, the Fallen, the Vex, and the Hive are also very different. And that is really going to be something that I think sets Destiny apart. So let me get a few more details pulled up so I can convey them in this video, so I never have to talk about Destiny again until I play it. There we are. So one of the interesting parts of Destiny that I haven't actually mentioned yet is what I alluded to with the last city on Earth being the last city on Earth. The reason it's the last city on Earth is it is protected by this giant spherical thing that if you've seen any of the Destiny stuff, you've seen the Earth with a big fucking ball over it, a big golf ball or whatever. That is the Traveler. So the Traveler brought the powers and the technology and brought in the golden age for mankind when he showed up to our system. The reason he showed up was he was, I don't want to say running from, because I don't think that is the right implication, but he was tracked down by the darkness. And the darkness is what stamped out all of the progress that was brought on by the Traveler. And now we have the Fallen, the Vex, and the Hive kind of trying to take over all of the places that we as humans spread across and colonized and were living in, and we were just ruling the galaxy, man, like it was Mass Effect or something. And the darkness is what stopped that. Now beyond that, I don't know shit about the darkness except they have giant floating pyramid ships in their bad news bears. So with that in mind, I love the fact that Bungie talking about the fact that they want Destiny to be on par with Star Wars. They've set off in the right direction by having a literally good versus evil, light versus dark dichotomy. Like that is the direction you want to go. Lord of the Rings is the only other thing in the whole universe that I can think of that is anywhere close to the iconography of the mythology of Star Wars. And Lord of the Rings has a very, very, very obvious light, dark, Mordor and fucking Gandalf the White. And like you have this, like, here's all the good side, here's all the bad side, and they fight. There is not a lot of like gray, except for Gandalf the Grey. So beyond that, maybe the Bible. I think that's another one. Yeah, heaven and hell, light, dark, all that shit. You have to do that. And so for Bungie to have all of this interesting setup of the game's not even out, and we know about all the characters and all the different like classes and people and types of things that we're going to encounter. But we know from the start that it's the light and the darkness, and you have the Traveler and the darkness and their pyramids, and you have this light and dark struggle that you're trying to right the wrongs in the universe. And that's the best thing ever. So speaking of that, somebody mentioned that they would like to play as the Fallen in Destiny 2, so to speak. So let me share my opinion on Destiny 2. Personally, I don't want there to be a Destiny 2. I want it to be a Destiny. I just want Destiny to be Destiny, just like Minecraft is Minecraft. I hope there's never a Minecraft 2. I think they did a great job with making what is Minecraft, and it should just get bigger and bigger. And I think Destiny is on that level of ubiquity when you talk about this video game is going to be the fucking game. And for that, I don't want there to be another Destiny. I want there to be more Destiny, more of Destiny. I want expansion packs. I want more content. I want patched in content. Something a buddy of mine, Alan, More Console on YouTube, the biggest Destiny YouTuber there is, pointed out the fact that Bungie has dedicated the next 10 years from the moment Destiny launches. Every single day there will be new content, there will be something new to do, there will be something more interesting and something added to the game every day for 10 years. Now, assuming that is including the next game and the next piece of content and blah, 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 they're also talking about the fact that they just want you to have a new experience every time you boot up the game. And from that perspective, I want there to be no more Destiny games. I just want this to be the Destiny game. Now, the problem with that is in 10 years, Destiny as we know it today will probably look like a pile of shit. I mean, that's the thing with World of Warcraft. They're updating their character models. They're updating all their stuff. So because it's coming out on 360 and PS3, Destiny can't, it has to have sequels. So somebody pointed out that they wanted to play as the Fallen in Destiny 2, and I don't think you'll get to do that, buddy. Pretty sure you're just going to be Guardians. Pretty sure that's the whole point. But I like that idea. I like the idea of wanting to be on the flip side, wanting to taste the dark side. That's the whole point of Star Wars. You can be in the dark side too, you can be a Sith, you can play as a Sith Lord, or you can be a bad guy bounty hunter or whatever, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if eventually you see Destiny going into like branching paths and stuff. But when it comes to Destiny 1, 2, 3, and 4, or whatever you're going to see over the next 10 years, you're going to be a Guardian. You're probably going to be the same Guardian that you start with in September this year. I've fucking, without a doubt in my mind, think that you will be able to take all of your progress and all of your stuff with you to the next game and the next game and every piece of content going forward. So let me scroll through some of the things that people are saying and see if I can pick out a few other concepts. Agria Sendros is clearly somebody that I think listens to Guardian Radio and probably combs through all this stuff with a fine-tooth comb. So I'm not even going to try to like say shit that you don't know. I'm just here to share my opinion and my thoughts. So hope you're not disappointed at the fact that I'm not like dropping into revelations that nobody's ever heard of. So it looks like you guys are kind of on my train of thought with just new content coming to Destiny. I think that would be great. I think that'll probably be that'll be the case with Destiny for 10 years. They will support that game. They'll probably release other games that will be bigger and better and badder the next Destiny experience. But what I think is going to be more interesting beyond all of this is I want to see what happens with a Destiny movie, a Destiny book, a Destiny video game, a Destiny real-time strategy game, a Destiny tabletop game. I want to see Destiny playing cards. I want to see Destiny license plates, and I want to see Destiny fucking snow boots. So I want Destiny to be as big, if not bigger, than Star Wars is today. And I think that's definitely possible. So I want to see what Bungie has up their sleeves. I want to see what Activision can do to help them achieve that goal. But if that is going to be the case, I just wonder how Bungie this is going to stay. Because Bungie, as we know it, has already shifted quite a bit. I mean, look, like Jason Statham. I keep wanting to call Joseph Staten Jason Statham. Anyways, Joe Staten has already left. I mean, the writer, the man behind the mythology and the lore and the world of Halo and now Destiny has left Bungie. Marty O'Donnell has left Bungie. A ton of people are gone now. And I wonder how Bungie is still going to be by then. So I wonder how Bungie Destiny is going to be in 10, 15, 20 years. Because even though this game is set on paper to be supported for 10 years, I wonder if Bungie is just going to take Destiny and roll with it after they're done with Activision and self-publish, or take it to Microsoft, or do something bigger with it in a way where they can actually do all of those things. Because Star Wars, to be as big as Star Wars is, didn't just sit around and make one thing, a movie, over and over again. It did so much more than that, and they need to have the business plans in place to do that. So I'm curious as to how that's going to work out. So that is wrapping up what I have to say about my top 5 games of this year. Once again, if you were not here for that, please go to youtube.com/Drewcifer1998 and you can pick out this video. It'll be the most recent video because this is going up as soon as I'm done with it. And then you can also listen to the video that I did earlier today about what I think is going to happen at E3 in a couple weeks. So thank you guys so much for sticking around, all half dozen of you. I really appreciate it. Anybody who's watching this on YouTube right now, thank you so much. Like and subscribe. Hopefully I can put some more content out. This is just me sharing my thoughts. I've been Drew. Check me out on YouTube and check me out on Twitter at Drew_Freeman85. Come play Xbox with me. I'm Drewcifer CCG. There's a space in between there on Xbox Live, and I will see you guys later. Take care.